Continue to keep you updated with that. Another story that we are continuing to follow throughout our day today is Daniel Nyabuto in the trial that he is facing intoxication manslaughter with, am I right, in the death of Deputy Lorenzo Bustos. Now, we have some pretty important news coming out of the courtroom today.
Yep, so day 8 of this trial, and both the defense and the state have rested. And we get into some news today that the case is going to pick back up in January. So the reason for that is we're coming up on the holidays, and Judge Russell indicated that the court is, there's law in Texas that the jury has to stay together once they deliberate. So with the holidays coming up, he made it aware to the court that some of the members of the jury have some travel plans. So they just said, hey, we're just going to pick this back up in January, where we can say, hey, jury, you're going to come in on a Monday, and you're just going to stay there until we have a verdict. So they didn't want to come in next week and, have a situation where somebody might have to leave. And if it's been, 2 or 3 days, obviously we don't know how long it's going to take for them to come to a verdict. But,
I mean, that brings a whole new kind of level to the case we're looking at, with the jury having so long to stay just by themselves with these thoughts. They can't talk about this with anyone. They can't look up any information about that case. Did the judge say anything, give any instructions on how the jurors are supposed to conduct themselves?
He made that very clear to the jury this afternoon, that you cannot talk about this case to anyone. You can't tell anyone you're on the jury. All the things of that nature that you expect the judge to do in that kind of situation. And, they're going back on January 9th, and, you're going to be over the holidays, and, you've sat on this trial. So it's going to be a long time for, me covering this case, thinking about this, and going back.
Not getting an answer at all. Now, what was Nyabuto's demeanor throughout today as his defense counsel rested and he goes into this holiday break?
I would say it's been the same as it has been the whole trial. I would describe him as calm. He's had a lot of family there throughout the trial, but you see him right there. He's just kind of sitting there. He's calm. I haven't really noticed him be very emotional at all in either sense of the word. He's just there. I wouldn't say anything.
Now, what did the defense focus on in their last day of presenting their witnesses and making their case?
So they had their own crash reconstruction guy today, and he kind of came in and said, I don't necessarily agree with the way DPS said. You can actually see the video right now of the reconstruction, that DPS did. And that's the moment where you can supposedly see when Daniel Nyabuto first sees Lorenzo Bustos' vehicle.
Okay.
And this expert came in and said, I don't believe with that because of some of the lighting on the night and some of factors like X, Y, and Z. He also said that Nyabuto was trying to swerve out of the way because of the module, his airbag control module. I've said that word so many times over the past couple of days.
What is that? What's the airbag control module?
It's the data in your car that records what you're doing, and they were able to get a warrant for that.
So like a black box for an airplane. When an airplane crashes, you get a black box.
Yep.
You have the same in your car.
Essentially. Okay. So actually, when the defense rested, the state called back the DPS trooper who did that. And he came back on the stand and did a whole bunch of math in front of the jury and said, hey, this is why this guy is wrong.
Oh.
So it was a lot of math that I did not follow at all. But it was very interesting to see why, the sides were kind of disagreeing with each other. And it was a long day and, 8 days of trial. And now it's not going to pick back up until January 9th. So it's a huge case. And it's very interesting that this decision has been made to go forward like this. But, I'm not the one who's going to make that decision.
And were we able to speak with the prosecutors or the defense attorneys or anyone on either side about how they feel moving into an extended break before they get any type of verdict?
We didn't have a chance to, just because of the nature of the timing of this, but both sides agreed to this.
Oh, okay.
They came up to the judge and said, hey, we're going to be aware of this. Like, this is the law in Texas that jurors have to be together once they start deliberating. And, some of the jury have travel plans, as been made aware to the court, so they don't want to take the risk of, them sitting in a room for 3 days next week, and then one of them is like, just kidding, guys, I have to go.
I have to leave. Okay. Well, once again, this starts back up on January 9th, and that's when jury will start deliberating, or that's closing arguments?
That's closing arguments. They'll read the indictment again. They'll start with closing arguments, things of that nature. So we've got I don't know how many days, but we've got a whole Christmas break, and then trial will be back.
Alrighty. Once again, JD Conte reporting from the courtroom all day long. Thanks, JD. We'll see you January 9th.
You've got it.
Alrighty.